Here we are. Hi, you're with Scott. Let's do the big face. Let's do the big face. Let's get your chat popped out. Just shuffle you up a bit. Just shuffle up a bit there. You just shuffle up. You just shuffle up a bit there. We'll do the big face. There's the big face. That's my face. It's big. Bigger than it was. And today we are talking about depression on Mental Health Monday. So as much as I want to get all excited and affiliate, excitement, you've been furiously busy as well, yeah. It seems that way, doesn't it? That all of a sudden life has this way of the wave. A couple of weeks ago, I felt I had infinite time to do anything I wanted. And then as soon as I start doing things that I want to start doing, everything else starts taking up more time. And then all of a sudden the things I wanted to do seem to take longer than I thought they would. And I set myself targets and goals and then struggle if I'm not making. They're only arbitrary targets that I set myself. So it's either famine or feast, yeah. I've put a little sad face in the Are You Depressed? Because we're going to talk about depression today. And we're going to look at, I've got the, do you want to see my little browser? Do you want to see my browser? I've got the Samaritans there. If you're really seriously depressed and you're thinking, what's this guy chaffing on about? Why, I need to talk to someone. There's a number you can call. You can also talk to us in chat and we can interrupt any planned broadcast with your thoughts and feelings. If they're important to you, they're important to us. So don't ever think that the planned scripted broadcast has to override your feelings and your ideas. You can always bring them in. Samaritans is there as a support network. And I'm just a stranger on I watch these boxing broadcasts by this guy called Dwyer, and at the start of every broadcast there's a little disclaimer. Let's go big face. There's a little disclaimer. He says, think of this as an opinion from a stranger online. Well, I don't want this to sound like an opinion from a stranger online. I'm not a stranger. Stranger danger. But these are thoughts and ideas that we're going to learn together through reputable websites, through reputable sources. So they're not just opinions from strangers online. These are things that can really help. These are things that are worth thinking about. And with that caveat, I did choose to put an emoji in the title of this video. We're going to do a little quiz. There's a little quiz that we're going to do to find out if you're depressed. We're going to talk through it together. And so I put quiz as well in the title. It's a bit facile. It's a bit, I don't know if an emoji is the right language to be using in a serious discussion about depression, but I put it there. You're using them in the chat. It's normal. It's okay. I'm not dissing the emojis. I'm using them. But I didn't, how do I put this? When I'm writing texts, I don't often use emojis. So if you think it's out of context and you think it makes it look silly, then you tell me and I'll change that. I want to be respectful. And I'm not disrespecting depression or making it seem silly by using an emoji and quiz in the title of the video. Okay? That's covered. That's covered. Let's browse. And this is the NHS, the mental health section of it. And if I hadn't put all of our little windows, you'd be able to see, look, depression and anxiety self-assessment quiz there. This bit here. It's got its own little quiz. They've used the word quiz, so maybe quiz is all right. And this is coming from the National Health Service in the UK. So they're a not-for-profit organisation. They're run by our tax dollars, tax pounds, and it's valuable information. I think it's fair to say it's reputable. So let's do the quiz. Let's get into this. Let's see what we're talking about. And once we've done the quiz, we'll look at other things and offer some support and options. Maybe you can do the quiz yourself. Maybe you want to log on to www.nhs.uk/mentalhealth/help/high-tools. It's just Google NHS quiz depression or something like that. But it's interesting just to start off and note here. It's a self-assessment. So you're going to be asked how you feel. No one's going to come and say, oh, I think you fit in this box of this kind of depression and you're that, and come to the doctor and we'll draw a little square around you. It's up to you and how you feel, and people listen to you in the NHS at the doctors and go on what you feel and what you think. It's often quite scary to try and take that first step towards help through a medical institution, something that seems quite serious. Maybe you're worried they're going to do things that you don't want them to do, take you away, put you in a cell, or any ideas like this. I can see the worries, but always feel comfortable coming forward, because as you see here, it's self-assessment. They're asking how you feel and they're going off that. How have you been feeling recently? When it comes to emotions, sometimes it can be hard to recognise or admit that we're not feeling 100%. If you're over 16, take this short questionnaire to help you better understand how you've been feeling over the last 2 weeks and to point you in the right direction. Under 16, there's a Young Minds website, so I'll quickly click on that. Boom! There's a Young Minds website. So if you are under 16, there you go, look. You're not even supposed to be here. But there's nothing untoward that you're going to see here that's going to be too much for you, maybe. But maybe some ideas, some themes might seem a bit heavy, and maybe they'd be easier to understand coming from the Young Minds direct if you're under 16. So let's start. How often have you been bothered by feeling down, depressed or hopeless? So if you want to chog along in chat, do you know what? I should move the chat, shouldn't I? Me in the chat. See, look, it changes when I touch it. It changes when I touch it. No, look, calm down, it's Mental Health Monday. If you want to play along in chat and you want to suggest an option, you absolutely can, and we can go with your thoughts and feelings as a conglomerate group. Or if you want to play along and open this up in your own window, that's fine. I'll answer honestly, just brutally honestly, and we'll see how it goes. I've already done this before. I'll just tell you this as well. I've already done this before. I have answered these sort of questions a number of times as I engaged with mental health support through the NHS, and until today, I hadn't realised that I would be looking back at how I felt before and grading it against how I feel now and judging my progression. But I guess it will be. So let's do this. How often have you been bothered by feeling down, depressed or hopeless? Certainly not at all for me. Certainly not that. Several days, definitely. More than half the days, yeah, definitely more than half. I mean, more than nearly every day for me? Yes, absolutely. Depressed, I mean, we're learning about depression today, aren't we? So maybe it's hard to know what exactly depressed means. But feeling down, yes, definitely me. Do that every day. And hopeless is a difficult one, because back in the day, when I first engaged with this institution, help, fill in these forms, we will help you thing. Excuse me. When I first engaged with this, it was nearly every day hopeless. But now it's definitely not that. I definitely don't feel every day hopeless. I feel, oh, you've already done it, already. Capital K. How can I feel hopeless with capital K? Capital K is quite a bright person. The Onyx game is quite a bright person and has already whipped through this. It's going to take me an hour, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah, I've noticed capital K. I've noticed. How often have you been bothered by feeling down, depressed, or hopeless? Quite often as well. When I don't know a word, capital K can bang the word. So the word just pop. I like that. How often have you been feeling down, depressed, or hopeless? Nearly every day, I would say, yeah. But not in the same way as I used to. Not hopeless. Just I accept that I feel down about some things because I have done and I'm going to. today's a good example. My feelings about the loss of a friend are going to ripple out and continue, but the way I control these things, the way we've talked about before in Mental Health Monday, is to ascribe myself worry time and to give myself time where I listen to songs and want to get upset and do that. And then when the songs are finished, I dry my eyes and I move on to the next project. So I put my little times, my remembrance feel down hour in and do it. So I definitely do it every day, but not in the same way as I used to, where I felt hopeless. Next. How often have you had little interest or pleasure in doing things? This one's, they're all going to be difficult questions, aren't they? But they're interesting questions. You can learn more about the questions if you click there, but we're going to stay with them. Definitely not at all. There are times I have little interest or pleasure. It's difficult because we're staying in with the old COVID, isn't it? We're restricted on what we can do, and we're trying to take pleasure in the little things that we can do. So when I walk the dog, sometimes it feels like a chore, and sometimes it feels like a pleasure. So that's difficult to say. But overall, for me, things. I can put something on the television and just after 5 minutes just be like, I can't watch this. That happens. I can't just sit through it either. I just find, I can't. It has to be up to, it has to be, I don't want to say what I want at the time, but some things I just feel, how do I explain this? Sometimes I feel that some things I'm doing aren't worth my time, I guess, and it annoys me. So little interest and pleasure. Should I say yes or no? I don't know. Definitely not at all. Several days, definitely. So at the moment, we're going to put that. More than half the days. I suppose it's a general feeling as well, isn't it? It's a general malaise of getting out of bed, not really wanting to do anything, not really wanting to take the dog for a walk, not really wanting to even turn on the telly to see if there's things that I'm going to be critical of, to see how society is trying to muddy itself today. I don't know. I'm having pleasure in making these streams, in joining you. The editing isn't feeling quite like a chore, not quite like a chore, but sometimes, the way I live as well at the moment, I just say if I don't want to do it, I'm not going to do it, because I'm trying to recover and feel mentally strong. And so pushing myself to do things that make me feel depressed and that's not on my list of recovery choices, really. And editing, for some reason, I think it's got something to do with having invested so much time of myself in editing certain things that, I don't know, so much emotion of myself. I haven't even investigated why I feel depressed after I edit for too long. Maybe it's got something to do with just sitting in a room and working on a computer. You're not late, Callum. You're not late. You're wherever you are is always a good time. You're always in good time in your life, on your journey. Don't worry about that. Other people might have started things without you. But that's on us, not you. So don't worry about being late. And also remember that you can always find these videos on True Binaural and ASMR, on Ganjikidd's YouTube channel, and on Battery Exhausted for other kinds of edits. So, they'll always be there. We can always keep this there for people to share and find and help people. So we can always join in at different times. It's cool. We're doing depression and a self-assessment, and I'm being brutally honest. And it's bringing out some interesting things. So a general dissatisfaction in doing things and not being happy about doing things. I was talking about being happy and how editing made me unhappy, and I don't know, it's difficult. Several days I've thought that, but then, to be honest, I don't know. The honest. Oh, you subscribe to all the channels. That's good. I didn't have to what they called it, a call to action. That was a call to action I didn't know I was doing. I remember when I was depressed that there were days where I got out of bed and it didn't matter what it was. You know, you could have said we're going to go and ride Formula One cars on a beach in Hawaii, and all you have to do is get out of bed and jump in the teleporter, and bang, we'll be there. And I'd just be like, look, I'm going to stay in bed another couple of hours. You go and do that. I just really can't. I haven't slept all night, and you know, it sounds nice, but it's beyond me today. So that would have happened nearly every day when I was depressed. I can say that. So today, for how I feel now about getting up and looking forward to our time together tonight, that's what I've done today. I enjoyed our dog walk and did my chores, looking forward to doing this. So I'm going to say, I want to say it's somewhere in between several and not at all. Only one or two. Only one or two. You know, only one or two. How often have you been bothered by trouble falling asleep, staying asleep, or sleeping too much? Every single, and it shouldn't be every day, it should be every night, shouldn't it? Every night, they should say. Because you're not supposed to be, well, who knows when you're supposed to be sleeping? Maybe you should be sleeping in the day. It's not for me to tell you, is it? But most social things happen on a circadian rhythm, so it's helpful if you can be awake during the day and sleepy at the night time, like most of the rest of the society. It's helpful, I guess. But yeah, absolutely nearly every day. Kelvin's playing along on NHS. Do you know what? I could copy and paste. Oh, look, the mouse has stopped working. We need that. We need that, so. Now what are we going to do? Now what are we going to do? Oh, and I was going to say I could Google an answer to how to fix the mouse, but try and turning it off and on. Off and on worked. Off and on worked. There you go. But I wouldn't be able to Google it because I wouldn't be able to use the mouse to open up Google, would I? Paste. Chat. There. Now anyone can take the quiz. There you go. You can take the little quiz and play along. It's like a game, isn't it? It's like a game. The game of life. Here's the cat. You got yourself on the internet again. Meow for them. Go on, you meow at me all the time. Well, there you go. How often have you been troubled by sleep? Yeah, for me, every night. Still haven't quite got that down. I do my little sleep. We did a video about it, didn't we? We did a video about it. We did a broadcast. I do my little cat. I do my little sleep routine, and still not working, you know, perfectly, but I'm trying. But yeah, so nearly every day on that. Next, how often you've been bothered by feeling tired or having little energy? Again, I think this is like, when I did it in the past, I would have said nearly every day, absolutely. And I kind of want to say that now, because nearly every day I wake up a bit later than I should and have to drag myself out of bed. But then when it comes to doing the things in the day, the walking the dog, or, you know, the chores and things like that, I'm not thinking, I just can't be, I don't want. I'm actually prepared to I'm here doing this with you, you know, I'm prepared to have a crack at it and feeling energized by, how do I put this? Energized by progress. You know, we're making progress together every day that we put a little step forward, a little, another little pin in the map, a little, you know, little tag. I'm thinking of graffiti there, little graffiti tag, you know, before we spray the whole effing wall. But the way we're taking these little steps forward, you know, we put another brick in the wall, and I like that progress. It inspires me to do more. So at the moment, I don't want to say not at all. Definitely don't want to say not at all. Definitely can say several days. More than half is a bit pushing it for me now. Little energy, you see. Tired, yes, more than half. Having little energy, no. And I think because this is about depression, and because this is a reflection for me on the way I answered it in the past, I'm not going to say more than half. Whereas in the past I definitely would have done. Now I'm going to say several. And I think we can remedy that if I can just be a bit better with my sleep cycle, my sleep hygiene. And as I said, we did an episode on that. We covered that in a video. So maybe I should watch my own video and listen to myself. Let's try not to make jokes about depression, eh? You can make jokes about depression as long as you're not making jokes about people, at their expense for being depressed. I think you can make jokes about the concepts that come up in depression, though, because if we can't have a laugh, then we're just going to be sad all the time, aren't we? But always remember, I'm not making light of your feelings and how I want to be mindful that when people come to this work, they might be feeling really depressed, and so somebody cheerfully chuckling away about how they feel better now might not be so enjoyable. It might feel bad for them. So I'll try and keep myself in check. Hello there. I wonder if the results will be different for me because you're not British. It is the British National Health Service, but I do believe this is an international set of questions, and was developed by a doctor. Not good with my names. I saw their name earlier when I was researching what this is and how valid it is. And yeah, it was produced by a doctor, so it's a general medical thing. I think the doctor might have been American. How often have you been bothered by poor appetite or overeating? Well, how often have I been bothered by being human? Yeah, every single day. But then maybe I'm taking that for granted, that we all feel that we overeat. And the poor and we talked about eating disorders in our previous broadcast. And through that, I learned that I fit the profile of someone who has one of the eating disorders. I don't eat anything through the day. So I'm poor appetite in the day, yes. I tick that box every day. And then overeating, I'd say I tick that box every evening when my appetite finally kicks in. Shakima, you can't... what? Just... shutting the door. I'm not being mean to the cat. She is meowing, but I have fed her, so she just knows that we're on stream and she just wants to be part of it. But I've shut her out. How often are we bothered by our appetite? Every day for me. How often have you been bothered by feeling bad about yourself, or that you're a failure, or have let yourself or your family down? That's quite a complex set of ideas. I think that's talking about shame, isn't it? Shame. Like just then, I feel bad that I let the cat. I did feel guilty that I was shutting her out. But our broadcast is far more important than that cat's mithering. I tell you, that cat will still be mithering in an hour when we've illuminated these ideas. And her mithering will not ever be fixed by food or letting her in or letting her out, or I don't know. Enough about the cat. How often have you been bothered about feeling bad about yourself that you're a failure? Eh? Let's have a little chuckle about that. Eh? Let's get my big face out of that. How often have you felt you're a failure? Should we have a good laugh at your expense? Don't feel bad. If you're feeling these things, they're natural, they're normal. We all feel that we've let ourselves down at some point. We all make mistakes. We're all human. Things that might seem like mountains today can seem like molehills in a month, in 2 months, in a year. And some of your problems that you might feel impending doom about, in time will pass, and so too will your feelings of disaster and doom. So yeah, we all feel these things. Don't let them crush you. If you're feeling them, then there are places that we can direct you. I'll just do my browser, the web browsing. If you're feeling those heavy feelings right now, talk to someone at the Samaritans direct. You can literally get them on the phone, and it's a really good resource to just talk through your feelings. And we are filling in our questions. But I think these are feelings of shame overall, aren't they? Being bothered by feeling Feeling bad about yourself, depression is rage turned inwards, beating yourself up, feeling you're a failure, assessing things, feeling that you're not where you felt you should be in life, or maybe a project that you didn't complete, that's me, or maybe something like that, or you've let yourself or your family down, maybe things were expected of you, maybe you didn't deliver, maybe events where you have, maybe your feelings have prevented you from participating. I don't know, there's some ideas. My ideas. Bring your own ideas, that's fine. Not at all, yeah, I can't say that. Several days, so I can't say not at all, so I'm going to say several days, but not more than half these days. More than half. Nearly every day I do, which one was I going to pick out? Not that I'm a failure, I do reflect on my goals and where I feel I'm progressing, how I'm feeling I'm failing myself. Use that exact terminology, how I feel I'm failing myself. Yeah, I reflect on that nearly every day. I guess that counts as feeling bad about myself. I've got to a point in life now where we talked about it the other day, the grey hairs in the beard. I've got to a point in life now where it's like I believe there's like a trajectory in life, isn't there? Like you're going up the hill to your peak, and then at some point you hit this peak and you don't know that you're at it because you're just enjoying life, and then the minute that you start to veer down the peak, you start, oh, my tummy, should I pull that in, should I do more at the gym? I've never been to the gym, but these sort of ideas start coming in, don't they? Should I dye my beard, or do I need to, brushing you, whitening you, and crimping you, and dyeing, and all this business. Your vision of yourself, the way it's changing, those ideas come in. So I think it's quite normal and human to feel bad about yourself. Maybe that's not what it means, but I'm going to say more than half, but not nearly every day, because some days I don't. Some days I just crack on with what's happening and I'm enjoying life, and I hadn't taken time to beat myself up or feel that I'm a failure. And some days we're having successes in my life currently. We're pushing through. I feel like we're coming out of a hibernation phase as we come out of this COVID. And something I wanted to do before this, to push out into the world, to push on with my life and these ideas and things that we're doing together. So I feel joy from that. So I can't say every day. So I'm going to say more than half, am I? Yeah, I'm going to have to. Next. How often have you been bothered by trouble concentrating on... I had trouble concentrating on the question. How often have you been bothered by trouble concentrating on things such as reading the newspaper or watching television? Other than the cat, I don't, I'm quite good here, aren't I, with you? It's not distracting me, other things. I'm quite focused. I can sit and edit for hours. But reading a newspaper, I don't do. Watching television, I tend to watch documentaries, and again, I'm there, I'm engrossed, my attention is there. Unless it's something I haven't chosen to watch and it's just come on and it's rubbish, then yeah, I'm okay at concentrating. So I'm going to put not at all. Personally, I'm going to put not at all. And now I'm going to reflect on what used to be the case. And it used to be that I'd have to put several days, I suppose, because my feelings of we used the word malaise earlier, didn't we? It's different now. It's my feelings of, I suppose, anger. It comes from anger somewhere, or frustration is probably a better word. Frustration. My feelings of frustration would distract me from mundane activity, I guess, sometimes. Certainly when you're pushing towards crisis mode in depression, when you're going down the slope and not back up the recovery, when you're on the first part, it can definitely stop you from enjoying and concentrating on mundane things. But at the moment, we're good. I'm feeling personally good with that one. But it's only 7, isn't it? It's only question 7. All the others are at the top end. Oi. Question 8 of 18. How often have you been bothered by moving or speaking so slowly that other people could have noticed? Or the opposite, being so fidgety or restless that you've been moving around a lot more than usual? I'm going to put no to that again. It's different for everyone, isn't it, depression? Some people's symptoms might come through in a more physical way. Speaking slowly. I try and speak slowly deliberately here so that I'm understood. And being fidgety and restless. Again, not something that I found, sorry I touched the microphone, not something that I found personally I suffer with, unless I'm editing and I do need to get up and walk around sometimes. But otherwise, you know, that's more for my blood circulation. So I'm going to say not at all, and I'm going to be happy with that. Haven't had. So there you go. Have you had an anxiety attack, sudden fear or panic? And the answer to that is simply yes. I don't know if I can pinpoint one exactly, and I don't know if this was supposed to be in the last week or last month or sometime specific. I should have paid more attention to the questions. But yeah, have I had an anxiety attack? I'll tell you 2. I can pick out 2 that I've had recently. One was I was driving home and we'd been for a dog walk and I was wearing extra coats and stuff, so it was quite hot. And I got this feeling in my chest, and then it was one of those panic attacks where you're like, am I having a heart attack? And the fact, if I'm having a heart attack, then I'm panicking because I'm driving the car and I'm hot. And so all of these things happened within about 0.3 seconds in my brain, and I went from driving happily to I might need to pull over, and what I did was I slowed the car down, and I don't think I pulled over, I just loosened my jacket and took it off my shoulders, and the window was open, and I just calmed myself down a bit. We drove home. I didn't have a heart attack, so I think that was a panic attack, yes. And of course, now I'm not a regular feature of bedtime, not every night, but at least once in the week I will be virtually asleep and then be pinged up out of bed by, I don't know what, just dragging me up from the centre of my chest from absolutely drifting off to sleep to bang wide awake. Anxiety, it is anxiety, I know it is. It must be some sort of panic response. And I recognise it instantly. I don't continue to have any sort of panic response. I said, whoa. I can just go back to bed. But yeah, so yes. Yes. Next. How often have you been bothered by feeling nervous, anxious, or on edge? And this is interesting, because I'm being brutally honest. In the past, I would have said every day. Right now, I feel like I also want to say every day, but in a much reduced severity. In the past, I could have let a panic attack spiral out of control. Right now, I've got complete control. Even though they happen, I can shut them down. The things I feel nervous or anxious about are things that maybe I should or are natural to feel anxious about. So that's okay. And again, I don't let those feelings then spiral out of control. I try and, keep them in an organised fashion. So bothered, I suppose, is the key word here. How often have you been bothered by those feelings? Because it's okay to feel nervous, to feel anxious or on edge, but how often has that bothered you? Has that been detrimental to your operation of your life and the things you want to do? How often has that caused you to be bothered? So I'm not going to say every day. No, I'm not going to say every day. Because there are days when that does happen to me, that I feel nervous or anxious about certain things. But it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me in the same way. But there are days when it does. There are days when I feel like when I was driving That's just an example. There are other times where I'm not at that high level of anxiety, but I have anxieties while I'm driving, and I think, well, this isn't good, is it? Because I'm driving. I should slow down and be completely in control if I'm going to be wielding this, this vehicle. So yeah, how often have I been bothered by it? More than half the day, several days. We'll just say several days at the moment. How often have you been bothered by not being able to stop or control worrying? So that's the follow-on question. Back in the day, I'd have said every day. I've done cognitive behavioural therapy through the NHS. So now I can say, not at all. Because there is not an instance, even though sometimes it can bubble up and get out of control a bit, I am now able to stop or control it. So I'm happy with that. I'm lucky in that aspect. And that is a massive step forward for me. That is a massive step forward for me, I guess. That's huge. Yeah, that's huge. I'm just going to do big face for a second. We'll have a little big face break. Hello. Hello. I've got a big face. Got a big old face. Do you want to see me shrink? Do you want to see? I did this the other day on stream, but you probably haven't all seen this, so you'll like this. Here we go. Ready? You ready? You ready? You ready? Okay. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. There you go. You see, I shrunk down, didn't I? Shrunk little, and my voice got higher because I was little. Anywho, I am here on Depression Mental Health Monday, trying to not do things like that, trying to keep it low key and normal and fine for true binaural. And if you're coming here and you feel depressed, to not be making an ass of myself, so you feel that I'm not taking you seriously. Yeah. But what I wanted to say quickly was about the cognitive behavioural therapy. I did find that really, really useful. It's just, it sounds really heavy. Therapy, cognitive behavioural. It's just about talking about how you feel and think about things. And then you go away with some ideas. Ideas like the worry tree that we talked about before. Ideas like worry time. And then you put them into action. And then they help the way you think and feel about things, which is what you're trying to help with, isn't it? It's what you want help with. And the beauty of it is that the therapist, the heavy, worry, heavy therapy. No, the therapist is just someone nice who talks to you, and then you do the stuff. You're the one that goes away and does the thinking and the activity. They just, they give you some ideas once a week and listen to you and help you to organise your thoughts. And then you got to go away and do the work. So it's not heavy. It's not like something to worry about. But we naturally would worry. Oh, I've got something stuck to my face on a broadcast. That's good, isn't it? Just a little bit of gaffer tape from the headphones. So that was professional. One day we'll get new ones. Anywho, yeah, cognitive behavioural therapy helped. And at the end of it, I felt it helped so much. I was so pleased by the results. You're not supposed to give a gift to the medical professionals that work at the health services. You're not supposed to spend money and give them gifts. But I got a little plant. I didn't spend any money on it. It was like an aloe vera, how they succulent, and then you can replant them. I gave them a little plant anyway, and they've got that in their office, hopefully. They could have just thrown it in the bin, you never know. But I felt so pleased with it, I gave them a little gift. So there you go. That was me advocating for cognitive behavioural therapy, which is available through your health care provider. Mood self-assessment. How much have I been worried? Not at all. Not bothered. Several days. I mean, I worry about it, but then I control it, and I don't let it bother me now. I'm not going to let that rule my life. So that's that. Next. How often have you been bothered by having trouble relaxing? Yeah, more than half the days, nearly every day. I can't, maybe you understand this, Kelvin, we were talking earlier about this. Everyone else, Cheryl and Callum, I'm sure, and Nigel, when you see this, I'm sure, Amanda, Tree. Do I have to list everybody's names now? Ilona. Anyway, look, how often I can't relax that easily. I'll edit until 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. I have to walk the dog, and then I have to stop. And even then, I'm not relaxed when I'm walking the dog. Bedtime comes, I'm not relaxed. Every day. While I was talking that talk then, I was doing this with my hands because I was finding it stressful to talk about how stressed I feel sometimes. Let's just check that we're getting every day. How often have you been bothered by being so restless it's hard to sit still? And this is one of those physical ones again, isn't it? I don't find that myself. Maybe it's something to do with being a gamer, editor, getting the dog walks in. That flow to my life. But when I have the opportunity to sit still, I quite enjoy it. So I'm okay with that. How often have you been bothered by becoming easily annoyed or irritable? Bothered by as well. Remember bothered by, because it's okay to be annoyed or irritable sometimes. It's okay if something's annoying to find it annoying. But easily annoyed, personally, I find I have a lot of patience. People that know me might disagree, but I've worked as a hairdresser and I've worked with difficult clients, and at no point did I lose my temper with them. I've never smacked someone on the back of the head with my comb and said, sit still or I'll cut your ear. I just have to hold my breath and, be patient. Being patient with the animals, the cats and things like that. They do annoy me, though. They do annoy me, so I will accept that. But I remember back in the past when I felt more depressed. I felt more anger, more rage, more frustration. So things would annoy me more easily. And if we're honest today, I think you see it in the stream sometimes when I come across something that I find distasteful or unethical. And even the way I'm disparaging of certain pop culture elements, whilst he's wearing his Attack on Titan hoodie. Let's go big face for this, because I think it's a fair comment. Fair cop gov. I'm wearing my Attack on Titan hoodie. Okay, I've got my headphones. But I still go on about, capitalism, it sucks, doesn't it? People should be more ethical, So when I see some trite pop culture, bubble pop thing, sometimes I'm a bit like, you could have been doing something better with your time. But, there's good to be found in things that sometimes I'm quite disparaging of. Verbally on stream, I appear to be negative about. And here's me saying that they're not all that bad. It's just that sometimes things easily annoy me on that level. That's one, people have got their own bugbear. Yeah, I get annoyed about that sort of thing. I also get annoyed about people hijacking. It sounds silly, but there's this marketing campaign thing that goes on with sports stars and people, figures, Instagrammers, whoever. They create this narrative in this public social media world, and it might not be the truth, but it's a narrative, it's a story that helps them to sell things. And when that sort of stuff goes on, I find that distasteful and it annoys me. And I see it a lot because it's going on a lot. So irritable, yeah, you see. Let's go back to the questions. You see how that came out of me then? So I can be annoyed and irritable. How often, and how often does it bother me? Can I now just let that go? Yes. Can I now just say, look, is that going to be relevant in the next 10, 20 years when we push on with this stream, now, today in stream? How important is it to you that I go on about that or this, and what's going to happen in the longer term future and how we're going to develop? Yeah, it doesn't bother me really, does it? It's something I can just let go. So bothering me, not in the same way as things used to. Becoming easily annoyed or irritable, not easily annoyed. I'm going to put several days, because definitely not, I can't say not at all. If you wake me up early in the morning and I have to do anything, several days. How often have you been bothered by feeling afraid, as if something awful might happen? Absolutely nearly every day. Absolutely nearly every day. Agreed? Are we agreed? Are you agreed? How often? Let's have a F's in chat. I don't know what they say. What is it? F's in chat. What does that mean? Let's have a quick straw poll in chat if you're here. Just do you feel, you've got 1, 2 or 3 option here. 1, not at all. 2, several days. 3, more than half the days. 4, nearly every day. I'm expecting to see some 4s in chat. I'm going to just move chat around to just confirm it's working, because I'm expecting to see some 4s. Can you just put 4s in chat for me just to make me feel better? Twitch chat. Look, it moved then. There's a 2. That's not a 4. That's a 2. No, you're allowed your opinions. That's absolutely fine. You can be a 2. 1's not at all. You don't ever feel afraid that something bad's going to happen. 4. Is it just me? Is it just me? I don't know if you've seen the news recently. I don't know if you've seen. I don't want to make you feel bad. 1 all day, every day. All right, there you go. 4 is nearly every day. Look, 1 not at all. Look, I'm happy for you, Cheryl, that you only several days do you feel bothered that something awful might happen. I don't feel good that it's happening at all to you, and I guess we would all like to live in a world where not at all. But I thought that I can't read chat, and I think it's okay. Yeah, I was going to say, because with the old COVID and the nuclear war and there's not a nuclear war. Don't get worried about that now. But the missile tests and what I mean. You see it on the news. The bad things on the news. I guess asking if something awful is going to happen to me, or just, yeah, but something awful is happening in general all the time. Oh, here we go. Okay, let's go big face a second, because I just wanted to point it. This isn't going to make you feel better, so don't listen to me here if you want to feel better. But there is always something bad happening in the world, isn't there? Good one, Scott. Mental Health Monday, depression. Welcome if you're just joining us. There is always something bad happening in the world. That's the message I want you to take from this. And if you're feeling bad about it, then that's normal, because I should say this, actually, I will say this. I often think maybe this increase in depression in our society, this is me being serious now, I'll just point that out. Maybe this increase in depression in our society is because it's natural for us to feel depressed, because so much bad things, I nearly swore, so much bad things are happening, so many bad things are happening, that when we naturally respond to them, it makes us feel down. And I guess what Kelvin said is a really interesting point, that you don't have to watch the news, you don't have to read all the stories, you don't have to investigate all the things. Certainly it can be beneficial to your mental health to not burden yourself with too much mental strife, but I won't say that I think we should bury our heads in the sand and ignore the problems in society. I think we need to face them, but it's a balance, isn't it? It's somewhere in the middle. So Cheryl, sorry, said she crawls back into a hole, and Kelvin said that it's not happening to him personally. It would be uncomfortable if something bad wasn't happening. Yeah, in my general life, if something bad wasn't happening, I'd be looking around and asking, who's about to start doing the bad thing, because nothing bad appears to be happening, so why is it so quiet? That's what I'd be saying. But what an interesting set of ideas that have come up here. I agree, we shouldn't burden ourselves too much. We should crawl back into our holes sometimes. And I agree that if it's not happening directly personally to us, then it's not mentally healthy to take on everybody else's problem on your own shoulders, because how could you? You're not even expected to. We try and understand each other and to have empathy, but I also believe that we should respect the fact that other people have feelings and ideas that we can't see. So we just have to respect them and the way they relate them to us, and accept what they say. It's really interesting. I'll tap the microphone, I'm sorry. It's really interesting ideas. I also, though, I feel personally, and we're going to personally about me, back to me, let's talk about me again. But I was doing it through the prism of my progress mentally. Personally, I can't look away. I think it's important that we face the problems of other people and help them. and I actively seek out the information. I guess information is the right word. The news, the updates. I guess I look at the news a lot, and I don't know what's coming. So maybe some days it's not so traumatic for me, and maybe other days I spend a lot longer doing more research into something that's just come up from nowhere and is in the news, and now I have to feel bad about it. So yeah, I don't know if I'm correct in that. I don't know. I think we should all fit somewhere on the spectrum. I think we should spend time helping people, and also accept that we need to try and not think about our problems sometimes, and try not to think about all the problems sometimes, and just have fun. Like partying is good, music is good, arts are good, and having some free time to enjoy life is good. And you shouldn't feel guilty because somebody else is suffering while you are enjoying life, because we're going to try and help everyone to stop suffering, so that we can enjoy life. So you still can take enjoyment from life, yeah. And that all goes back. That's just me having a ramble. I need to keep the energy low, don't I? So it comes across well on True Binaural, but I might have to just be myself and just see how it works. Web browser. How often have you been bothered by feeling... I am myself, that's what I'm doing. How often have you been feeling afraid? And this is important as well, afraid. For me, it's difficult at the moment because of COVID, and something awful is happening, and has happened. So I'm going to say nearly every day. I think mental health wise, without the COVID, without all these things, I would still be more than half the days. I'd still worry about the bigger picture things. It's a hard balance. You can't ruminate on these problems, but completely avoiding them isn't great either, yeah. So I think we're more than half nearly every. And I think this is a bit unfair because my progress in my mental health is on an upward trajectory, but this answer feels like I haven't really got anywhere. But it's not because I haven't got anywhere progress-wise. It's because I've progressed a lot, and then this bad thing is happening in the world that's really serious and really real. So, nearly every day. Have you been bothered by worrying about any of the following? Here we go. Have you been bothered? A checklist. Watch us answer yes to everything. I'm bothered that I'm drinking this killer Coke. Other brands are available because that one's involved in some shady business. Have you been bothered by worrying about your health? Absolutely yes. Yes, we just explained about that. Your weight or how you look? Yes, we talked about that earlier. You have a little, you check your hairline, don't you, these days? Little or no sexual desire or pleasure during sex. Well, I've been locked in the house for over a year and a half, so I don't have... That's a non-applicable question. Difficulties with your partner. Again, non-applicable question. Don't have one. The stress of taking care of family members. Taking care... I think they find it stressful taking care of me. And I don't have to stress about taking care of them. But absolutely, yes, I do worry about... That's the main worry with this big COVID worry, is I'm really concerned to try and keep my family members and friends and their family members safe. So, but taking care of them, I don't have to... it's not my responsibility to provide their meals, for example. So it's not that sort of care relationship. But of course I worry about taking care of the people around me and my loved ones. Yeah, of course. It'd be better put, I worry... See, maybe this is unfair for me, because a mother of 3 children would have a much higher tick here, a much more important tick than my feelings of worry about people who can actually take care of themselves. So I'm going to untick that one, because I don't think it's fair, because I think people stress a lot more about taking care of family members than I do. Stress at work, school, or outside the home? Kind of yes. But not in the same way as I used to. I used to be a hairdresser, and I used to run the show, and the stress at work was unbearable. And I used to have to get up in the morning, in the afternoon. Towards the end, I got naughty. I was just like, once there were people working in the salon as well that I could delegate to. I could ring up and say, look, can you do the blow dry? I'll be there in an hour. But that was bad business practice. That was naughty of me, brought on by stress, because I work late, drink hard, feel stressed, pay the rent, go around and, you stress, you get to that rent and bills and you get them done and you think, oh, thank God for that, and then it all starts again next month. So yeah, that was huge. But nowadays I'm not stressed what we're doing here. I'm not stressed. I ruminate on my problems, I don't avoid them. I think I've got a good balance. If I don't feel that I can do this, then I wouldn't be here doing it. We talked earlier about how today, a family friend has died, and I know that they, in their spirit and soul, wouldn't want us to all just stop and be devastated and give up on things. So I'm happy doing this today. So stress at work is a bit unfair. I'm going to untick it. We're doing well. I'm amazed and impressed that I'm not ticking all of these. Am I stressed by financial problems or worries? Yes, but no. I mean, I don't have lots of money, but I'm not scared that that's going to mean disaster for me. Maybe I'm naive in that aspect, because I should be more worried because I don't have much. Is it a financial problem? Yes. I mean, we talked the other day, didn't we, Kelvin, about the bread line? I'm on the the bottom rungs, but am I eating? Yeah. Am I clothed? Yeah. Have I got a nice hoodie? Yeah. Are we on the internet? We are. Can I ask for anything more? No. I absolutely feel 110% grateful. Could I have? Is there more that other people in society look at and point out and say, oh, you could buy a house or you could do this? Yeah, absolutely. Do I want to start my own charity and animal sanctuary? Oh, I would love it. So yeah, I could have more, but is it a financial problem to me that I don't? No. Do I worry about it? No. Finances and money, even though I just sort of scrape by, and that's it, I scrape by. I always seem to scrape by. So I don't let that worry me. It's the other things that worry me. Yeah, interesting. So I'm going to say no. I'm not going to tick that. I understand that people have serious worry. I'm going to big face this one because I think I'm being too flippant and talking about myself too much. But I understand that people have serious financial concerns. Debt can be, we can drive people to suicide. Let's put no bones about it. It can be one of the most devastating things to cause mental health breakdown. Because so much in our life is dependent on these finances, this money. And if you get yourself in a situation where you have bills to pay, like I was talking about with my hairdressing shop, so I have been in that situation where I would have definitely ticked yes to this with the hairdressing shop. If it's your family, it's your house. If it's feeding your kids, then if it's those sort of things, then of course it's going to be incredibly serious, and you're going to find your worries are going to be, they're not something that I should be laughing and joking about and saying, oh, I just scrape by, that's all right, isn't it? Because there are people that don't really even do that. So if those are your concerns, I'm just going to have to quickly cozier this, because I've just typed in Debt Crisis Charity UK and a couple of different things have come up. It's not for me to choose which one of these is correct for you, but there is an option. It's there to talk to Samaritans. Debt can be really serious. It can be massive, can't it? It can be really crushing. Financial problems. Having no one to turn to. I hope that you're not going to tick that box, because you need to understand that you can turn here, you can turn to us, you can talk to us in chat, you can send me a private message on truebinaural@outlook.com. You can involve yourself in what we're doing here and be part of the Ganji PUKKO Warrior crew, and we will be here to help you indiscriminately, without judgment. That's how I feel about it anyway. So if you're watching this, there's someone for you to turn to, and you might not feel that you have someone to turn to, and we might not be a physical, real life person. We are real life people here. We're real life people, but you do have someone to turn to. And if it's not us, then a teacher, a colleague. You might not be religious, but a priest or a imam, or there are figures and people. A police officer. Maybe that's a bad choice. I'm not judging the police in every country and all over the world, but yeah, maybe not a police officer, a fire person, an ambulance worker. You know what I mean? Someone that you can turn to. Doesn't have to be like this best friend, close accomplice, sharer of life. It can be the Samaritans. So yeah, you should feel you've got someone to turn to, but you might feel that you don't. And even though I've just explained all that, you still might feel you don't. So that's a box you can tick if you don't. But if you're ticking that box, that's a serious one for me. That's a serious one. And we'll do our best to be that person for you. I'm not going to tick it. I know I've got people I can turn to. This is a nice story. So let's big face the nice story. Yesterday, my friend needed a lift home, and they've been really careful with the COVID. They've been part of my sister's bubble. So I drove over and picked them up and gave them a lift home. And they were saying, "Oh, thank you very much for doing this for me. It's, is there anything I can give you?" Because I found it really weird, because it's not, no, there's nothing you can give me. I don't mind doing this at all. In fact, I figured it out. We were talking, and I figured it out through the conversation we were having. I didn't need payment or anything like that. The reason that I was doing it is because this person, this friend, is someone who is worth doing favours for, because they're a nice person who wouldn't think twice about doing a favour for me, who over the years that we've known them has always been there to be compassionate, caring. My sister's been through troubles herself, and this is one of her friends who has been there for her, and I'm grateful for that. If I couldn't think of, if I needed to call someone up, I could definitely call her and just expect this this special thing that is that friends have, that you might take for granted, that if you're not able to tick that box. Well, I was able to, I can tick that box because I've got friends like that, and that in itself is worth giving someone a lift. It's worth 100 lifts. It's worth driving someone to New York to Chicago or whatever. It's worth whatever favour or petty request, day-to-day issue, problem, help me with this, can I use that, have you got one of these, whatever these menial petty things. I say petty, they might seem quite big, I don't know. Anyway, these things, these day-to-day chores, I'll call them chores, shall we, chores that you do for each other when you're friends, if they ask, or even if they don't ask, these things that you do, these, being friends, I think I've made my point, but I don't, without making it, that it's because you're someone that I can turn to, that I don't think twice about doing something for you. Do you know what I mean? I hope you know what I mean. Out there, let's just move chat around and pop it. Oh, it changed then, so that's good. I think there's room to poke fun at your own personal situation. Okay, maybe that was from earlier. I hope I made my point there, that, and we'll relate it back to this web browsing, to this having no one to turn to. You can find people to turn to by being that person, by being nice to people, by being friendly, by offering them advice is the wrong word, even though I come here and talk to you and prescribe advice, but by listening to people and understanding and letting them come to conclusions about what they want and need, and then just helping them with their decisions. Sorry, not helping them decide, but helping them once they've made their decisions to go forward in whatever way they choose. Being someone that people can turn to, being someone that doesn't judge when people turn to you, being someone that doesn't try and fix every problem, but just understands how people feel. and is supportive of their actions, by being someone that people feel they can turn to, then you will find you have people that you can turn to. I believe. So there's a nice piece of information and ideas about depression, having no one to turn to. Hard if you're depressed to turn to someone, but if you have ever helped someone in your life, this is big faceable as well. There's so many big face moments today. So I thought this would be a short one, a quick one, and we're going to overrun slightly. So we'll just do the self-assessment and we'll see where we're at. What was I saying? It was a big face moment. Having no one to turn to. Yeah. If you are feeling that you're having trouble turning to someone and talking to someone about problems and saying, oh, can you help me with this? I feel I need help. I don't know if I need help. I just wanted to talk to you about it to see if I need help. You know, if you're having those sort of thoughts and you're worried about calling someone or taking their time or being a burden or anything like that, I think it's always important to imagine what it would be like the other way around. If one of your friends knocked on your door and said, oh, the car's broken down up the road and I know this is out of the ordinary, but I just want to come in and talk because I'm having a really bad day and I'm starting to feel upset. What would you do? You just bring him in, wouldn't you? You just open the door. Come on in, come in. No, don't worry about that. I'll just turn that off. I'll turn that off. Don't worry about we can turn this off. I'll just have a seat. I'll make you a cup of tea. Oh, don't cry. I'll get you a tissue. Hang on. Calm down. You know, you'd go into action, wouldn't you? You just do the things that instinctively you feel are important. I hope. If you wouldn't, then fuck off. You know, if you were going to close that door and just say, look, get down the road, there's a garage up there. Right? Don't become part of the Ganji PUKKO warrior crew. You're all right. You can do your thing. But at the same time, I'm still offering my hand to you because maybe, you know, one of these days through this experience, you might end up opening your door. I don't know. But yeah, if you're like the rest of us and would instinctively help people who were feeling upset or having a little bit of trouble, then don't ever feel guilty about asking for that help yourself, because you would do it instinctively. It's not a big thing to open the door and let them. It's not. You know, I don't have to check my Elon Musk finances and see if I can afford a rocket to Mars. I just open the door and just come in, a cup of tea. And so when you're feeling guilty or burdensome or worried that you're doing, you know, oh, can I ask this thing of somebody? Just remember, it's just a cup of tea. It's just a chat that you wouldn't think twice about offering to other people. So these people are not feeling angry that you're burdening them. Of course, there is a spectrum on this. If you do it every day and you're around your neighbour's house every day banging on the door, where's my cup of tea today? Then it will eventually, they will expect some progression or change. Maybe you can't stay in that loop. But at times of crisis, I mean, this is what friends do. Lean on each other. It's fine. Back to the web browser. Have you been bothered by something bad that happened recently? Yes. I'm just going to say yes. That's an easy one. We don't have to go over and over that. You know if something bad's happened and how you feel. Yes or no. None of the above. Who's got this far? And put none of the above? Who's got this? Oh, if you're taking this test, listen to me. Okay, I see the irony here. Am I getting angry about that? But if you're taking this test and you're clicking none of the above, what are you doing? How come you're so happy, you fuffer? You muffer. Why are you so happy? What's going on? What's the secret? I don't think anyone should be ticking none of the above. I don't think anyone can honestly be ticking none of the above. Can you none of the above? Even Elon Musk. Elon Musk worried about his weight and how he looks. He got his hair implanted, didn't he? He worried about that much about how he looks. He had the plastic surgery. So even Elon Musk, with all his money and his wonderful companies and his lovely beautiful family, worries about how he weighs. Well, his money invested in Bitcoin, he's worried about his money, isn't he? So even he is feeling that. That was a white male example. I shouldn't just use white male example, should I? That's the patriarchy coming. Yeah, the white cis patriarchy popped out when I give my examples out the back of my, off the top of my head. And I'm aware of it, though. This is the difference. I'm aware of it. I'm aware that white cis, I'm not even white officially, I'm mixed race, because we don't have to go into it again, but honestly, I don't have to tick ethnic white if I don't want to. If I want to, I can sneak in there. So, don't stamp on my head, please. But it's funny that, when I'm giving examples of things, I'm aware that I shouldn't just always think of the patriarchal. I mean, maybe it's because society holds up these examples more often. Your Bill Gates. I was trying to think of who's got the most wonderful success in their life, that they should feel happy, that we should reflect on times when they don't feel happy. I mean, Meghan and Harry is another good example, aren't they, from Oprah Winfrey and that, because you should expect somebody who has grown up as a royal and married someone beautiful like her, or someone like her who's grown up with Hollywood success and fame and fortune, and then married someone interesting like Harry. I threw a little bit of shade there, but yeah, that they would have nothing to complain about, but they don't, do they? They've got things that they're not happy about, so they're not ticking none of the above, are they? They're not ticking none of the above. So if I can't think of anyone who can tick none of the above, but if you've ticked none of the above, good on you, lucky you. Now you owe it to the rest of us to throw down your rope, to hold your hand out, to pull us up, because we ain't ticking none of the above. We're struggling, all right? So if you're just none of the above, if you're happy with everything, honestly, I think take a little time, have a little think about some of these things that people are suffering with, and see if you can help, because you're not struggling like the rest of us. But I'm not ticking that. Next. If this questionnaire has highlighted any problems, well, it has, hasn't it? Like, I'm an effing weirdo that can't even do a normal questionnaire. That was one of our problems. My behaviour. My inability to just keep it low-key, to not make jokes, to make this a serious, solemn affair. How difficult have these problems made it for you to do your work, to take care of things at home, or get along with other people? Very difficult. There were 2 days this week where I haven't felt like I could just progress with my life. Somewhat difficult. It's not all the time. The problems I have are not highlighted today by this questionnaire, so I'm dealing with them on a day-to-day basis. Not difficult at all. No, that's not fair. Getting along with other people is always difficult for me. Always difficult. Not here. Not the Ganji PUKKO warrior crew. I don't have difficulty getting along with you. But it seems that out there in the rest of the world, there's a lot of knobheads. That's how it seems. Not you, but the other. You know, don't you? You know what I mean. So I can't say not difficult. I'm going to say somewhat difficult, and let's move on. It's going to generate. That was it. Processing our results. My depression score is 13, which 13's horrible, isn't it? It's an unlucky number. 13. Oh, now I'm worried. Cursed. My anxiety score is only 8. That's fantastic. Based on my responses to questions 1 to... sorry. If you're experiencing depression and I'm here yelling it's fantastic, it's not appropriate. What I want you to take from this is that when I filled this out the first time round, I was at the top end, 23, 24, 20, 21. Anxiety through the roof, depression high. Through following National Health Service protocol. I'm not in the army. I'm a part of the from Attack on Titan. So, based on your responses, I've improved. My life has improved. My feelings have improved, my thoughts have improved. So that can happen for you. If it can happen to me, then it can happen to you. I feel like, have you ever seen Scrooged? Scrooged with I wonder what your results are, Calvin. I wonder what your results are. You don't have to type it in if you don't want to. You can keep that to yourself. But I wonder. I think my results now should be normal. I think that's what normal people. I don't know if I'm right here. Maybe I should be dragging my depression score down a bit, dragging it down a bit. But maybe I should be lowering that depression score. Maybe that's still a bit high. No, it's going to tell me I'm experiencing some symptoms, but only an experienced healthcare professional can tell for sure. Well, we know that. We've talked to the doctor before, I have. See the doctor. Yeah, that's a good thing to say for somebody with that score, because I think that's fair. Based on your responses 10 to 16, you're experiencing some symptoms, seeing anxiety. Fair play. Consider seeing your GP. And there's a whole list of things here. That's cool. That's a good set of options to follow up. But yeah, I suffered with depression quite strongly before. It's gone down. They still think I've got an issue. I have. The world still ain't all good, is it? Nope. But we're getting there. We're getting there. And I was then going to take us through like a whole webpage. We're going to just scratch the surface of depression today. But there's Rethink. That's another opportunity to learn, and we will do in the future. We'll do Depression Volume 2, Volume 3, whatever. There's the Samaritans. We'll finish on that. It's there for you if you feel depressed. If you need to talk, it's there for you. And you can take the test yourself, and you can see how you're feeling. And if you think you might want to talk to someone, then hopefully I've helped to get that ball rolling, because it's not a big scary thing. It doesn't have to be a big horrible, you're feeling bad and you're feeling low and you're feeling anxious. So engaging with the mental health services feels like something scary. I understand that. I'm on your side with that. I get that. It feels like they might not have your best interests at heart. It feels like they might just give you some drugs or not really understand what's going on. They might not even be able to get to you in time, which is why it's important to engage early and to, be persistent and to keep trying with it. Yes, these things are underfunded. Yes, there's charities that help. But the serious work that the NHS can offer, the serious things they can do, are there for you, and you can benefit from them. Yeah. I think that's a good message, isn't it? I think that's a good message. And we did hack Twitch because they made us an affiliate. I haven't filled in all my form yet, but they made us an affiliate. So cheers for that. Thank you very much, Ganji PUKKO Warriors. It's all your support and all of your interaction that is driving this forward. I get to be the cat. Where's my hat? Oosh! Where's my hat? I get to be the captain. I get to be the captain, the train driver. I get to drive the train. But you are the engine, the wheels, the coal. You are the... I say coal like a steam train because of this hat. Choo choo. You are the nuclear power of the jet engine. That's a bad example as well, isn't it? We're not any of those. We're not a transport vehicle. But I've got a captain's hat, right? I've got a hat that looks a bit like Luigi, the train driver, and I get to be the captain, and you all get to be the crew, don't you? That's it. Yeah, we should do it like that, like a sailing ship. That's a better example. I'll be the captain, and you can be the crew. We're pirates, so I'm useless on my own. It's you that's doing this, and we are celebrating in style on and into the future. So if you have been feeling depressed and you've come here, I hope that you feel a little bit better. I hope you understand how important you are to us. I say us because it's ripples radiating out into the world. That's what we're doing. We're creating waves. We're being part of other people's waves. We're, into mixing our waves, whatever. Don't mix your waves. Don't cross the streams. But that's the way we're going, isn't it? That's the way forward. We're part of this. You're part of it, and you're important. You're pretty important. Every snowflake is required to create this avalanche. So thank you. I'm really glad you've been here today, and I'm really glad that I've been here with you. You be good, my little pukkos. You be good. And if you can't be good, you're naughty.